very like, since then, it's very like, I'm getting overwhelmed. I'm going to stop everyone. Like, you're not the director. Like,
Hmm.
you don't get to call cut. Like,
I agree with that. Kristen Doty did an interview recently where she said the Toms have basically broken up and that Schwartz and Sandoval will always love each other. But you know, Schwartz is spending a lot of time with like the group and the Lalas of the world, and him and Sandoval are just there's distance. Does this keep you up at night?
does it keep me up at night? I mean, it makes me sad, but I always feel like Schwartz is codependent. And when you're codependent, that person's going to show up again and they're going to use their narcissism and kind of suck you back in. I think he's in one of those narcissistic dances with Sandoval, and there's no splitting them up. Like, something's always going to bring them back together because Sandoval is actually more, in my opinion, more authentic than Schwartz. So Schwartz is going to actually end up, and which people are going to probably crucify me for saying that, but the
Yeah.
Sandoval is never really hid the fact that he's an asshole.
I don't hate Sandoval, so people have been criticizing me for I mean, look, I think he's a horrible player at traders. He is a little bit of a kiss ass. He just recently tried to, say to Chriselle, like, oh, that was probably Chriselle had to vote out Nikki Bella, one of her friends, and Sandoval had to be like, Chriselle, I know you hate me. It was typical Tom Sandoval, like, Chriselle, I know you hate me,
I
but
saw that.
okay, that was a bit hard for you. And I mean, look, I don't really, I mean, under, I don't really hate him. I think he is authentically himself. Yeah. Dorinda said that she really enjoyed him. She said, I love when I meet people and they're exactly how I thought they would be. And we all know about Scandival, and I met him and he's just Tom Sandoval, exactly what I expected. And she's like, I kind of like that.
I like that too. And I've worked with him and he can be very difficult and crass and gruff. But at the end of the day, no one on that season. I mean, I like Ariana. Like, I've spent time with her. I've spent time with Katie. I do like them, but none of them are like a church mouse that is like, has never done anything wrong. We have listen, if anyone got televised their 20s and early 30s, they would be mortified. I mean,
Mhm.
I mean, I didn't used to drink unless it was Fiji water, I wasn't drinking it. So if that was on TV, I'd be mortified at 38 the way I would act. I'm like, does this restaurant like Zagat rated? Like, I mean, it's a freaking diner, Amir. Just fucking eat the food. Like, I was a nightmare. So
We were all nightmares, but everyone thinks I'm a nightmare, and yet I didn't do any of this. I'll
I
like
did
sleep on the
it.
damn floor if the bed has too many people in it. But yet I'm the high maintenance bitch over here.
No,
Okay.
you're not. Not what I've experienced. Like I'll always outmaneuver you in that department of bouginess because I'm Persian. We just come with a lot of. I have three names. Like it's just a lot going on. So it's fine.
Speaking of Persians, I'm not such a fan of Reza. Reza blocked me years ago.
He's rough. He is.
Not a fan.
He's
Not a
rough.
fan.
I was on a panel. This is like literally right before the pandemic. It was like a Persian group in Iran. I mean, not in Iran. Oh my God, in LA, which is basically Iran in many ways.
It
It's full of
is.
audience of Persians, and then he was there, and he asked a question about. I don't even know what he asked me, but I remember we kind of got into it, like a little back and forth. And this is like an audience of 100 people, and me and him are going back and forth about something political. I don't know what he said. But I remember outside he came up to me and was like, "Oh, you're a good adversary." I was like, I wasn't trying to be adversarial, but okay. Like,
I mean, I can say this because I know he's one of those gays who just like feels threatened by other gay men. Really, we all know the type.
I feel that. I feel that.
I
I feel
feel that.
like I'm the only gay in the room, and it's like, you're not though.
You're not. That's another example of like he I mean, they even pushed like him and Gigi and MJ, and I love Gigi and MJ. They've both been on, like they're great. But like they keep saying coming soon and this and that. It's like there's no show. Like you've hired, I'm not saying there's never gonna be a show, but you hired cameras to film a sizzle reel. You and I can do this tomorrow. We could spend our own money and hire a camera crew to follow us around for 6 months, and more power to them, but that's not a show today.
Show. And if you want to do a show, you should just hire that camera crew and have them follow you around and just post it on YouTube, and people will watch it. I mean, people will watch anything. You could put clips on TikTok, part one, part two, part 15. people would watch anything they do because they have the following. They can just funnel those people. And I went to Gigi's, she had like a live show with sex toys and she,
Hmm.
it was funny. Like, so they could even do that. They could even do live shows like whatever the Tres Amigas were doing. Just do that.
Yeah, they actually should do that.
Yeah. Like
Yeah, I mean,
people,
listen, back in the day, like Shaw's is, I mean, Ladies of London, Rachel Zoe Project, but Shaw's is right up there with my favorite shows that are no longer on Bravo. I loved it.
me too. Me too. It's like Gallery Girls, New Year's NYC Prep, and Shaw's of Sunset. Like I love those three shows.
See, I couldn't get into Gallery Girls,
I love that. I don't know
which
why.
is shocking because I'm from New York. I was like the same demographic as them at that time. I never, New York City Prep was the best fucking thing ever.
It's the
Yes.
best show ever. And you know,
Hmm.
Gallery Girls, you know how it would be good if they reimagined it with Raquel from Roni. Raquel from Roni is a gallery owner. So if she came in with her group of girls and did like the other side of art, being POC in art, the whole lesbian thing, like I would watch that. So Gallery Girls reinvented with Raquel Chivermont or whatever her last name is would be amazing.
And I assume that, I mean, Roni will be back.
Yes.
And I
And should
assume
be fired.
I really think Bryn will be fired. I do.
Should be fired. When you double down and go to Rolling Stones and do an interview and defend your bad behavior, and then you have Aaron who's fact checking you. Aaron said, "You have not called me. You are not my friend. Like this is bullshit." And again, Uba's not my favorite, but what she
No.
did to her, like I unfollowed Bryn. So and I've been following her from day one. So, and I don't unfollow people lightly because I feel like that's extra, but I just feel like what she did was, and listen, housewives have done some really disgusting things, but what she did was, it was like despicable. I felt like I was watching like true crime.
Yeah,
It felt like,
Ubo has not been my favorite, but after this, and I watched her, and I'm like, okay, I feel for you, and I get it, and I'm seeing this off. Like, it was all authentic. I don't. My only problem with Uba is when she goes from 0 to 100, like Dorinda, like when it's too much, and it's like you can get angry. You just have to work it out. You have to have a conversation. That's housewives. So you can't just scream. But if you really take all that away, most of that always was just directed towards Bryn. And it's like, okay, so maybe I've not given you enough credit. I agree. I mean, I think Bryn is definitely fired, to tell you the
I
truth.
think she should
No.
be fired because when you like do something like that, it's one thing, and to feel like sympathy and the way that Uba came and was kind of gutted and she was throwing up right away, having a physical reaction to trauma, and then Bryn waking up and saying, "What are we eating for breakfast?" and sitting with the producers, all fun with the gaggle of gay producers. That was very triggering for me. That's what pushed me over the edge, where she was joking and having, and maybe that's her coping mechanism, but watching it, it felt like you were watching a criminal who had just committed